Hey everybody, how you doing? My name is Matt, or Point Defense 90 here on the YouTubes. This will be my first gun review video. Today I'm going to talk to you about two of my rifles, my M&P Smith & Wesson. I have an M&P15 right here, and an M&P10 right here. Now this M&P is not the Sport. There is the new Sport 2 version out, which I honestly don't know too much about, but I'm definitely going to look into to see if I can recommend it to some people. I know I actually recommended the Sport version to my father, as he really just wanted a basic self-defense carbine, and you're really not losing out too much on the Sport. It's a good way to start. My top recommendation is to just build your own. However, when I was in the market, I was a lot less, competent. So this will be a 3-year ownership review of both of these rifles. So I've owned both these rifles for 3 years, several hundred, not thousands, I'm not rich, rounds through each. I will tell you right now that I have two malfunctions between the two of these, and they are both on this rifle. And I'm going to blame that on the ammunition, because I was shooting very cheap steel-cased ammunition at the time that both of those malfunctions occurred, and those were failure to ejects. Okay, so I'm going to bring you on over here to the laptop, and we'll look at some specs. So, this is the exact rifle that you see before you, the M&P15 MOE, or Magpul Original Equipment, MSRP of $12.59. We'll tell you that I got this rifle for much cheaper than that. At the time I bought it, I was active duty military. So, let's look at the specs, and this is straight off, by the way, Smith & Wesson site, just so, you know, I like to keep everything honest. It's got 5R rifling, and that is a melanite coated barrel, by the way. And you see a whole bunch of blah blah blah. Chrome lined bolt carrier and gas key, chrome lined firing pin, and armorite barrel finish, which is melanite. Compatible with most standard AR-15 components and accessories. When it says most, it means pretty much all. Okay. Alright, the SKU is 811054, manual safety on lower, 16-inch barrel, overall length 37.0 and 482 post. Folding manpole M-bus sight is the rear sight that's included. A lot of people don't like it because it's plastic. I've never had a problem with it achieving or retaining accuracy. So yeah, so here's your weight, 108.8 ounces. If that matters to you, which for some people it will, especially as a go-to-war carbine, if you are a subscriber of Nothing Fancy. Now let's look at the specs for the M&P10. This is SKU number 311308. 308, nice. And this is the exact one that I have. Manual safety on lower, 18-inch barrel length, overall length of 36.9 inches. Does not come out of the box with a front or rear sight. Weighs 123.4 ounces. Barrel material is 4140 steel. Blah, 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 blah. And the barrel twist rate is 1 in 10-inch 5R rifling. And it does come with the LE 6-position stock. So let's go over some stuff on my M&P15. This is the standard Magpul Original Equipment. As with this, and this vertical grip, which you can put in any of these slots, gives you a bit of customization. Not maybe as much minute customization as far as length of pole as like a bottom pick rail would, but it's going to fit pretty much everybody in one of these 4 slots, and it's very easy to install. And I'll tell you, as a duty armorer for the Navy for a long time, I very much like this. Much better than the standard mil-spec handguard affair. Now, the only thing that I have done to this rifle, since I've had it from the box, is besides obviously paint it, was put this Vortex optic on it, which is a Strike Eagle 1 through 6. Review to be posted shortly. Highly recommend, by the way. And this flash hider, which I'm pretty sure is a Surefire. I'll have to get back to you on that. I will post the link in the description below. However, this also is pretty sweet. Now. Oh, and then this VTAC sling. That's it. Everything else that you see on this rifle, if you can kind of imagine it without the paint, that's what you get. And it's pretty great. And it's definitely, like I said, I can't remember exactly what I paid for this rifle, but it's way cheaper than the MSRP on Smith & Wesson site. Now let's go to the M&P10. She's a different story. That is a BCM gunfighter grip. I think it's a gunfighter 2 because I like the steeper angle just for the purpose-built purpose of this rifle. This is a Magpul stock. Now, like I said, this comes with the 6th position car, if you want to call it that, M4, LE, whatever you want to call it, telescopic set stock, which is pretty great because it reduces weight. But I really like a fixed stock on a gun that only I'm going to be shooting at only predetermined ranges. Basically, this rifle is kind of competition slash fun built. Not really so much as the defensive or WROL situation rifle. That being said, I kind of wanted and this stock does not weigh a lot, but this is a Magpul stock. Now to get this stock to go on this rifle, since it did come with the original 6th position LE car, whatever you want to call it, like I said, M4 style stock, it takes a different length buffer, which I emailed Smith & Wesson asking them about putting a fixed, and this is an A2 length style, by the way, stock from Magpul, and I gave him the part number and the link to this stock, and I said this is the one I want to use, and they actually sent me the buffer and the buffer adapter for free. So that's pretty awesome. One other thing you're going to notice about the Smith & Wesson M&P10 is that it has an ambidextrous fire safe selector as well as magazine release hold open paddle. That's pretty awesome because, I mean, you see it's not even on this M&P15, not that that matters so much to me, but most AR-10s do not come with something like that. That's kind of a premium feature that I really enjoy. Going to the rail here, what comes stock on the M&P10 is just your kind of A2 or M4 style, the little, you know, the plastic ribbed, clasped together at the delta ring. However, this is not actually a delta ring, and the M&P is a proprietary kind of I think they call it a quad ring or something like that. So this rail right here is actually from UTG. It was very cheap. It was only, I think, $40. Fits together perfectly. It was easy to install, obviously. If anybody knows how to mess with the quote-unquote delta ring on an AR, which if you're watching this, I assume that you do, then it's very easy to install. It goes together just fine, and it works just fine. And I didn't notice any shift in accuracy. Yes, I shot it before. I did all this junk to it, and I shot it after. This bipod, by the way, works just fine. Does not weigh as much as it looks like. It's not a BAR bipod. Also from UTG for very cheap, and I can feel comfortable highly recommending that. This flash hider that comes on here, right here, that you see right here, is actually factory from Smith & Wesson, and I had zero intention of changing that, even though I had purchased one to put on there. I purchased a 30 cal, kind of, it almost looks like a miniature 50 Barrett M82 flash suppressor, or whatever you want to call it, muzzle brake, I guess is the appropriate term. And after I shot it, I was actually so impressed with this one that I decided I'm just not going to change it because I really like it. Also, it looks better. This also is a Vortex Scope. This is a 4 through 12. And I believe it is a Diamondback. I'm pretty sure that the Viper PST are their higher lines, the Diamondback is one of their cheaper lines, and that's what's on here, but it works just fine. Okay, so there's the overview. So after 3 years of ownership, here's what I'll tell you. I kind of wish, in all honesty, if I were going to run this as a battle rifle, that I would have left the factory little ribbed M4 or M16 A3 or whatever you want to call it foregrip on there, which I still have. I just haven't gotten around to putting back on because I like having the bipod because, like I said, it's a purpose-built rifle. And it's just fine. However, that rail does weigh a good amount. And also the adjustable stock is not really such a bad thing, like I said, as a battle rifle. Now, when you get this thing out of box, before you throw a scope on it, with the LE 6 position stock and the factory fore-end that comes on it. It really is. It's pretty light. It's pretty light for an AR-10, especially for a 7.62 platform in general. It's very light. And it's extremely reliable. Like I've said, I've had 0 issues with this, even with cheaper ammunition. And also, just to reiterate, with this, I did have 2, and they were back to back, one right after the other, failures to eject with very cheap steel cased ammunition, using regular what's that stuff? Sorry guys, I'm trying to remember the name. You know, that cheap stuff that everybody likes to use. PMC. Using even PMC brass is usually what I shoot, because like I said, you know, I'm just a poor guy. This thing has given me 0 issues whatsoever, but just the 2 failures to eject back to back on what I suspect was maybe a bad lot of steel cased brass. And that was, by the way, when me and my buddy were shooting a high volume in a single day. So other than that, total reliability out of both of these weapons. So oh, I forgot to mention, I do have an aftermarket charging handle on this, and that was kind of just something that I saw when I was buying magazines, so I just threw it in my cart and whatever, and it's fine. I kind of wish I'd got an aftermarket charging handle for this, because the scope clearance makes it, I wish I'd had an ambi one, because it'd be easier to rack it from this side than to try and pinch it under the scope. So that's something that I still have to do. But 3 years of ownership, hundreds of rounds through both of these weapons. They're both super great. I highly recommend. And like I said, my number one option that I tell people that ask me what AR should I get, if you want to save a bunch of money and then have exactly what you want, and you're not a total complete idiot, they're very easy to build. Palmetto State Armory makes really good stuff. I have a 300 black pistol carbine that I've built using their uppers and lowers, and they're really awesome. So I usually defer people to that. But if you just want to go into a gun store, into your LGS, and get something off the shelf that you know is going to work, that you can depend on, that you can take with you to anywhere, I really like my Smith & Wessons. And I don't like to play brand loyalty in any way, but I'm really happy with my purchases. So if you're on the fence about anything, and basically what drove me to buy this gun, and then subsequently that gun, was the quality of the barrel. Now most barrels in AR-15s are really the same. They'll throw around fancy manufacturing terms like cold hammer forged and blah blah blah, or people will say FN barrels and best, but there's not really, honestly, that many different people that actually originally make the barrels for ARs, and then, you know, they're contracted out to the different brands. But Smith & Wesson's barrels in these things are quite nice. So that's the overview of the Smith & Wesson M&P AR-10, M&P15. They're totally rad. Alright guys, thanks a lot. Have a good day, and shoot safe.